G'day reefers, I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Welcome to Gallery Aquatica TV. Today we're back at our CADE 2100 Pro Reef installation. Everything is going great and it's time for us to install one of the key pieces of filtration on this system, the Red Sea Reefmat 1200. Today we're going to show you all the tips and tricks on how to install this awesome roller on the CADE 2100. Alright, so we've taken our Red Sea Reefmat 1200 out of the box and we've put all of the parts down here so we can have a close look. Now, the first thing you need to decide is how you're going to orientate the roller in your sump. Now, with the CADE 2100, we're going to have the reef mat sitting with this part here resting on the left-hand side of the sump. Now that will mean it's positioned like this and our plumbing is going to come out of this side and go straight to the plumbing on the CADE, the main drain. I'm also going to have the motor on this side here, which will mean that it'll be facing forwards. So it'll be a very neat run for the plumbing to go into the reef, into the roller, and then it'll be very easy to use the controller as required. You can, of course, use the manual buttons to progress or retract the roll. So I'll put it together in that way. I'll swap sides for the motor, I'll put that on, and then we'll put our fleece on and we'll put the roller in the tank. Now our roller is ready for the sump. So we'll take it over, we'll have a look at how it's going to sit and work out if we need to make any modifications to the CADE 2100 sump to accommodate this roller. Our roller is going to go right here, resting on this edge of the sump. So we need to take out the socks, the sock holders and this baffle. So these come out pretty easy. The black parts just pull straight out. It's going to be the baffle which is the hardest part. Let's just pull these sock holes out. And I'll show you how we cut the baffle out. So you obviously want to be extremely careful when you're cutting baffles because you're working with glass, which will sometimes break if you're not careful, but also blades. But if you can get your blade through from one side of the baffle to the other, like this, then that will give you a much better cut. If you're only going through from one side, it can be a little bit tricky. And slow and steady is the key. This is a particularly easy baffle to cut out, or both of these are. So taking a baffle out of the CADE 2100 is not a particularly scary proposition. You also want to be careful that you don't damage the structural silicon of your sump. So I've definitely cut this seal, the two ends here, so I should be able to get a bit of wiggle. So I have to do this one and down here now. There you go. So I've actually broken it, which is not a big problem because it's being removed, but now it becomes a much more serious OH&S consideration. And I would also suggest doing this when the tank is dry. We didn't have the option to do it that way today, but if it's dry, it's a little bit easier. I'm just going to take these big dangerous bits out. I was of course hoping that I'd be able to do it perfectly neatly doing it on, on film, but the end product will be the same anyway, and I'll be careful not to cut myself, of course. Once you get like this, normally you can get the blade under. There we go. Okay, easy as that. I'll just clean it up a little bit. So now that we have our baffle and sock holders removed, we're ready to position our reef mat. So we've already got our controller facing the right way on this side and our hose on the other side. So I'm gonna go in through the front. All right, place that there. And now we're going to look at how we modify the main drain to accommodate this hose. And the way we're going to do that, so this is a piece we're going to use today. So this comes with the Red Sea roller. We're going to glue these together, and this is going to, whoops, attach right here. So we need to take this section of plumbing out and we need to cut it, and then our hose is going to connect onto here. So this is why I left this loose. Put a towel on there for the drips. So I want this barb to be as high up as possible, as close to the gate valve as I can. So I'm just going to measure it with my thumb because that's extremely accurate, and then cut. Now you don't want to hear that cracking, because if you stuff this, you're in a lot of trouble. So I'm going to just be very careful with the way I do this. I'm going to twist it. It is always a bit nerve-wracking because it's not an easy piece to replace, and if you cracked it, you'd probably have to replace it. But that's exactly what I wanted. We've got the right amount of depth for our hose tail, the barb. So now I'm going to glue this piece in, and then the whole thing into the plumbing. So again, our PVC cement. Using a fair bit this time. Okay. All right. So that's it. That's all we want. And we'll give that a little bit of time to dry before we put it back in place. I'm going to put our main drain in position so we can work out where we need to cut the roller hose. I want to give it as much slack as I can but still keeping a straight run. All right, so I'm going to cut it here. Now, take this back off again. That's for the dribbles. And now, I'm going to attach our hose to the main drain. So this is the glue. I reckon it's a silicone actually that they give you. And Red Sea are very nice to give you finger protection. And the idea of this is that it allows you to use silicone. So you just pierce it like so, very easily, like so. Okay, now this is why it's good to have this finger protection, because you really want to, it's impossible to do it neatly, but you want to have as much of the little tube as possible in there. Okay, well, that's pretty good. Glue is really messy, so try not to get it on yourself or on your towels. Okay, so now it goes on like so. Okay, and that's it. I want it nice and deep. And I'm going to put this back in position, even though it's dripping, so that as it dries, it's in the right sort of position for the corrugated hose. This is another reason why it's best to do this when it's dry, but that looks pretty good. We've got our roller mat positioned in place. We've got our hose very neatly feeding into it. All our plumbing on this system is done. So we just need to put the power supply onto the roller, make sure the roller is, the fleece is mounted properly, it's come off, and then we can turn the return pump on. So the final things I've done to the Red Sea Reefmat is I've connected the power, of course, as well as the sensor. The sensor, it connects into the front of the controller, and the sensor sits on the edge of the roller mat, so it senses when the water level gets high so it can roll on. The other thing I always do is when I load a new roll is I just will generally press the manual forwards button just to roll it on a little bit to make sure that there's no twists in the fleece and that it's going to roll on correctly as it needs. So we're pretty much at a point where all we need to do is turn the return pump on and get this thing cranking. So there you go. We've installed the Red Sea Reefmat 1200 on this CADE Pro Reef 2100, and it's working absolutely beautifully. The only thing, of course, that we haven't done, we haven't programmed it through the app. We'll do that in a future episode of Gallery Aquatica TV, but it's very easy to do. It's a very simple unit to use, and it will do an excellent job on this tank. So we'll bring you back to this CADE 2100 installation that we're doing in future episodes of Gallery Aquatica TV. We've got a couple of surprises coming up on exactly how we're going to make this into an amazing reef. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Happy reefing.